Ladakh, perches high up in the northwestern Himalayas of India. This rugged land with windswept plateaus, soaring mountains, and life-giving rivers are as timeless as the rising of the sun and beams with a transcendental awe. The limited resources and tundra-like weather conditions have not undermined the way of the Ladakhis. Rather, they have flourished and adapted remarkably, bringing alive the myriad colors of their culture. Ladakh's strategic location had been of undeniable importance to India in shaping the South Asian canvas, and yet more often than not, it was a world distant from the ebb and flow of politics in the region. For long, Ladakh had been deprived of even primary health facilities, accessibility to medicines for curable diseases, and suffered from high infant mortality rates.
And then in 1978, there was a flood in the Indus Valley, a lot of damage. And the then MP, who was the Rani of Stock, Amagyalmo Ishkitanmo, asked Save the Children Fund if we could help with relief. And this was eventually agreed, and I went up for 6 months. And we did relief with various Ladakhi villages, which was my first experience of working directly with Ladakhis.
Sarobade introduced Chokangati, Save the Children start Chokani sustainability as a project pena, sustainability mimans human resource. Korang community, local institutions, local parampara ke hisab se tebe ka development soma chi concept yot naka to te build up changing now develop choste local human resource ka ngata rak laste tene longer run na te successful churches element bu khoni tebe na ten te pe ina jongdar tangches miul awareness tangches tene tapik patiently wait churches miul decision nen churches chitong sik zabardasti top down approach gyuting era lengati miunika impose mi churches ote tos gun sangma ngaja sangma takriban LNP Korana tena last 20 months.
By the late 1980s, modernization had only begun to make inroads in Ladakh. LNP, conscious of these changes, redesigned its approach. From provider to enabler, thus diversifying its program range. Now, with emphasis on active participation and contribution from local communities, livelihood improvement initiatives, livestock management, enhanced agricultural practices, and food processing were developed. Even projects that focused on improving the quality of life in the villages with footbridges, paths, and canal construction were also undertaken.
Teningaja hendra setalulu zukse lo sumjik taljik chachen yale. Teningaja LNP gide drilling tangse yale tekane drilling tangse ngaja lob singaja ra yang janma ama sokpa sangwala drilling ngaji tangsmen yale.
One, which I mentioned earlier, was introducing measles vaccine into Ladakh. And the other is the work we did in education. Which I think will have most lasting effect, because we couldn't do very much about the syllabus, and it was very difficult to get teachers. But what we did was the government had a system whereby if the village built the school, they had to appoint a teacher. the education department. And they couldn't afford to build the schools. So again, like the bridge, we said, we'll help.
Tene daksesanglo sumchi sowe nganjiga tene ngata thagring gamil gune nanga sonma bache se losu mas konmo dukpinirale tema sat kongona sonma bache se ki thongoms gunang ma ingse dukpin te pya tene zana tene LNP ina ngata le khor guna ka progressive ngata le jingbat pa khasparik tene training ta kherte 미군아 랍자단지나 때네 코 practical 가다래 아나 지 강이라래 케데 가주가 차스강 조젠 가잠사에 조젠 때네 가주가 루 잠직 자직세 고셔죠 때네 가손보 가잠식 가다래 타르타 양가다 세요가 차고신 말랍만 디테일랑 가다래 만 미군아 코라 아나 지가 케데 트레이닝 다스는 게라래
And in those days, when road connectivity was still far from a reality, the team took foot journeys through winding paths and precarious mountain edges. At times, even trekking for up to 15 days just to immunize 2 to 3 children. And so covering the most inaccessible corners of Ladakh.
That is an lean nutrition project south of Indus, and Dibling Nataskan Jingerale. Rusho Karnak Sakpata, Yul Sumchik Nene Kerlishkut Pura medically immunization part to Gangpo in a nutrition project at Nata Dibling Nataskanjik, Rusho Karnak Sakpale. Immunization part to Ma Tezani, more challenging glass on the pin like she was in a chikpata, Yul Tagring song. Nispa is Yul Tagring Uninale, immunization churches for cold chains as a kaungana, vaccines gun. ngata cold chain na maintain boringen gosan te untana ma skalas ma chenmo duk pinale dina yenale lingshel laskod na yena dibling na khore taqriban man jagma issue saing tosik chachen skod noskeda dedamsik e cold chain gun maintain boringen gosan gale ya denna tsulan yenale infant mortality rate pote tane estimated in hole estimated infant mortality rate po man high duk pin ka 19 170 ne 80 par je duk pin jru skod noskeda tiu mala per 1000 live birth against line you are estimated kaza
gaung chikchiki nokle mangyu amane chikam thugu sangma malnourished mangcha oyong dugale tate uchi mane pata ma song tenting ne pata chen kher pasang te udugle ngata pene thobyu mete nok pate jan sang kuli cho sang met kya puta sangma las lai philo ga song pa tene pomogun na ajingla shospa yura dugle tini developmental lang chogos yura gunte rine yong sa yong spa chu tang re chigina yura we kherat kyak ba tene song pa ama sangma chat phang se nang yura chat kyak ngamune nemal lang ste tene thugu khorang thugi sang lo chik ni sum chayot kan ba thugu phang se song pa ama gun yong chik ta khari thik choste cha met kyak te be jaste kan bo ngaja pata song tene development departmental te wo zet pasang tene khone azuk chu leta chapi government ina te stok tang se yura mayur te mayur bo chasna na man demba rangman loching ina pharak charu le thuguna
It wasn't long before the rumors settled, and as the rapport grew, "They are our family," a villager once responded. With this support, LNP expanded its focus from childcare and vaccine programs to emphasize the role of the mother, her nutrition and immunity in child development. Even a series of songs were recorded to spread the message and build awareness.
LNP which pedazana LNP ditisung aya ngoma thu thangmela menje mete gaunangla thu thezamji ngatang zurmo chungde thu noksai mangpo sha LNP la parni thu dola menje thopte nang thu bang yulena thu nyok song ba ya mangpo song keji chen ama thangmelang phenji chen ama thangmelang inang main thop te nang la ngatang LNP chonang 두 상매랑 독바땅 다 톱신 제 망부지 오마도 대루왕 망부지 땅 대송마 배다송 되네 나단 지제나 이 장당바 상매 이부쪽 되나 나라 매땅데 정부깔데도 노 대필라 자직나 두틴전데 차노 찌 커지직 주였나 되나 디만전데 차노 대필라 LNP 저테노 되네 두투랑 견차노 밍랑 견차루 대필라 LNP 랩데나 대투수 पूरा गाँवला ngatan chiga tangle chizena bogar tangde LNP bogar de bogar bula minongje LNP bogar de tini su ngatan shuru songde na konang tongzam jiwa na tela LNP su chönla ngayala chiga sal bogar tangde na te tingni ngaya bogar tukji shuru song LNP ma pheda tenam pheda jiwa.
There are so many that speak of change and contribution, and yet the problems and issues are always on the rise. But who defines progress or development? How do you make sure that the progress of this generation is not a hindrance for the future generations, and that actions are conscious of the past heritage, present needs, and tomorrow's aspirations?
Ngaje sponsorship na mangcha mani deserving to kagun sila dot payot konla chepit puche se pene me abamane lagate ne education jikta kane tante thugugunla rocks joste mangyung kitab nyoches pencil nyoches nang otegunang ata children sponsorship zen teo chokspo karib yul chubdun je yot pin yale tenanang yam po family sponsor ang yot pin songbasang na family sponsor teo yot pin chezena tezana ngatanga nang ngatanga joint family janok pa ngang ngatanga nang mane mi chobgya churgu dugonok ya chugni suksum dugonok tene ka mi o kamai chokani nang aba chokspote ola nangchang boshala lama kakspo chatpin songbasana tene tegu nang aje roks chatpin ele.
And in 1990s, while climate change was still being debated at the global stage, the impacts that were evident with frequent droughts and scarcity of water were tackled with artificial glaciers, a project pioneered by LNP in Ladakh.
खासकर ngaja is speed pa mani kane kara ma aluk chek chamiro de chu ma ka pa char nya de ta chus pa de wajah se ngaje chi just been through watershed ngaje go mang pe na ngaje artificial glacier just been ale artificial glacier ro ngaje te jaga ona just been karo mane stone la mang speed la mang se chus kon chata le artificial glacier wo chikta mane low cost mane simple technique ji ginok nyale khoza shi ngata mi khong se stan tangna khong joje jongyan ji no kana chang isa ma du ji meta no nyade ma las la mo no dene mane rin nyu ji ga ngata jongyan no nyade.
nganma inang gadang saja thonmo degen sangmaya komana health and hygiene da ya kora yezu da dik cha nok cha na zegen process manok pa yezu interest legen mana mega pa ya da dang dering man health and hygiene sanitation of first priority no pa gadang is sonsbange LNP gadang coordinate choose solar composite toilet room mana environment friendly no pa yo bahut acha mana mi sangma yo mana that ya da that zaman ba da pro mana mana kaso da chodenla ya health mana jalado zergin mana mangbodo baya dene eso school ya joglamsar aglning dene henlela yongjin nyoma sumdo mangboyot pura langada eso school pura la dasan chu koldum so mana tungjus koldum ino ya dene hand wash station ino dene solar composite pura da daksa sagma mana improvement jala sonsene mana zer shejin making improvement sonsene.
The sponsorship program was started with a twofold purpose: imparting higher education to children in remote villages to deter dropouts, and secondly, to increase school enrollments. More than 500 students have successfully participated in the program so far. Today, Ladakh is on everyone's list, a traveler's dream destination to the corporate's new audience. Lifestyles have changed, and there is a growing breed of youth that have the zest to prove that I, not just someone from a remote corner of the Himalayas, I am the youth who dreams of achieving the highest goals and in touch with the digital world. Corresponding to this change are the faces at LNP, as the old guard share their experiences. New members continue to reach out with the same sense of commitment and passion to empower the people of Ladakh.
LNP ngai ka responsibility chunmo ka ngai ka kalte nokle ki LNP legacy wo carry forward chunhala le go LNP wo ngati sustainability na equitable wo hala le equitable in the sense economy na indo ya fir empowerment in ando to har izuga har mi wona thupche se barabar thupche se ngai charji jigin bale te ngai तेमा फोकस जस्पिन कि ngai rural area na halale ngati gaun ne na eco tourism e kane kazi phanto subin te hisabi ka ngai paper bo dispin halale
nga daksa LNP na last train yotle tene te lo jipchu jagni singa la cheese kalas yot otos nangai na borte daksa ngai chincha denan ko izuk issues rika kala shale space ta ngata gender equality no yale kanan ko ngata women's guna governance level ka participation thopjes tene ngai tyo manpa ngai di local governance kala shale local governance na ko ngata locally ngata kauksha ngata constitution hisabe ka ngata themes un kauksha dulduk teveka tene yang ngata child bo ka ngata yongcha chane tu se country se ngata future jino khalale tene LNP ngan la child ka ngata chaklas mangpo za de news tenokle ta daksa chi issues face haduk jana ngata LNP से मल्टी सेक्टोरियल नीड असेसमेंट जोस्ते नोकले ते नंको 20 थीम्स रिंगाता है ऑब्जर्व सोचते नो ओते थीम्स से नंको स्पेस तांग नंगाता है स्ट्रेस रिलेटेड इश्यूज चाइल्ड सेक्सुअल अब्यूज तेने नेट रिलेटेड इश्यूज ड्रग रिलेटेड इश्यूज काउन नंगाता इमर्ज छैन ओस्ते नो याले
तेने लो जिप्चु जिग्ने फला LNP मा फुनसुम सोक्सपा चने यारगा शिक छैन ओस्ते नो गालाले तेने दांग दिरिंगे तुस नास्ताना ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग nang entrepreneurship development bo ma khakchan jik thong khalale tene teve na ngaja soks junugun yongste kazu inga ta ngunma kazuk shiklam lukhul pen teo nang dang diring na modern technologies chiduk modern innovation chiduk halale te ngiska ngyampo khongste kazuk she last 20 ve kangai last chunyo dale te nang changme sang khakchan bosta nang ati seed bank halale ka na ta sound gun kaun nga ta yang jaga guna thome thalale ka le ama gala chuste minat te chosun khongste te un jingbat paguna tangche se ngai daksa sondus chune dale kawo organic farming Ladakh mission organic farming ina to part chicken yale tenanga ta tustanga po dulte kawo na ngata tenang nang spera tana organic mission vis kola spera tana te vena LNP izu yul resongte jingbat panya po duk sala le ki chis kala thong dak chala khachut ke ka government pura chungen chis met ke khala le te vena LNP toks NGO gun song te ming po spera tangches tene kazuge EU dembarang 2025 chukpa kazu dembarang successful zukshik chuen te vena chaklas chenyo dale tene tena kazuk shige ngati legacy yot LNP sustainable development halale te cho tenna ngati with modern technology gwa kherchise to ngai daksa ngajagune auto stones chunotle.
With the changes in the governing status quo of Ladakh, from the state of Jammu and Kashmir to now as a union territory of India, there is a certain need to ensure that age-old lessons on sustainability, a culture that respects ecology, and an acceptance of contemporary ideas is not lost with an increasingly homogenized world. A balance, hard to define, even harder to follow. A vision that now drives LNP.